Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick.
I'm Ian.
Today we're going to be talking about 10 reasons to still buy CDs in 2022. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you go check those out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music weekly playlist that we put together, and also the Patreon page. Make sure you go check all that out. Of course, if you enjoy the episode, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we release new episodes. So we've talked about the popularity of CDs on the channel several times over the last couple of years. And there's still countries out there that CDs are still the number one format in several countries. I think Germany is a country that CDs still are number one even over vinyl records. And, obviously that list is probably growing smaller and smaller every year. But, CDs are still they're on the rise here in the U.S. Last year was the first year in forever that CD sales had actually gone up. So there's, and I'm seeing more and more people in the CD section when I go to record stores. There's a lot of great reasons to still buy CDs today. And we're going to talk about some of those. I think that the big one for me is, the cost. Obviously, cost comparing it to vinyl record, CDs, they're, a third, maybe a quarter of the cost of a lot of new records.
I recently started getting back into buying CDs, and I went out and bought 5 CDs for the cost it would have for one album.
Yeah.
One record. So
yeah, it's definitely a cheaper way to get your music. Another great reason to go out there and buy CDs is the portability of it. Obviously, as you can say the same thing with streaming.
But the sound quality is better.
The sound quality is definitely better, and that's kind of the next one I was going to go to. If you're comparing, the sound quality of a CD compared to streaming services, your CD is going to sound better. You've got a higher, just the overall sound quality is so much better comparing it. If you're looking at if you're comparing it to lossless audio, it's definitely a little bit more of an even kind of playing field. Right. But if you're comparing your CD to an MP3, it's night and day difference.
Huge
difference in the sound quality.
Spotify is still, I think their entire catalog is still MP3 format.
Yeah. I think there's plans for them to go to lossless.
Well, they were going to do it before Apple did, but they were going to charge more, and then Apple did it for free. So I don't think they're quite ready to just give that away for free yet. Yeah. But even so, there's, we've talked about collectability and physical media too. It's the streaming services are not always going to keep or have what you want.
Yeah.
So,
and that's another point I was going to bring up. There's a lot of artists out there. Neil Morris is one artist that you like that his music isn't available on streaming services.
Well, he has his own streaming service.
Yeah. Well,
but who can? It's not expensive. It's $5 a month, but it's hard to justify $5 a month for one artist, even though there's a lot of music on there, and he does. I think he did bring some of his friends on there, like musician friends who have other albums and stuff. But overall,
it's more than just his music.
Yeah, you're paying half of what you're paying for Spotify or Apple for one or just a handful of artists. It's hard to justify that.
Yeah. Because basically what you're paying a month is a lot of those CDs you can find for pretty cheap. $5, $10, $15.
Give or take. I have been looking at trying to collect those CDs, and some of them are out of print, and it did jump the price up a lot. Yeah. But, still nowhere near what you'd pay for an out-of-print record.
I think the most I've ever paid for a CD, like a single CD, was probably $40 or $45.
Right, and that's kind of where those ranges are, and I won't do that. If I'll pay that for a vinyl record, I won't pay that for a CD.
And that was for a CD that was pretty rare and has been out of print for 25 years. So it's harder to find, and but I've spent a lot more than that on records. Right.
So yeah, I think there's slightly more collectability to a record just because of its size and the nostalgia factor. But I won't pay more than I really wouldn't even pay $30 for a CD, but I won't pay more than $30 for a CD.
I think another great reason to buy CDs is the availability of them. There's still a lot of CDs that are pressed in the late 80s, early 90s, they were pressed at such large quantities that they're still available brand new today.
Right.
Another thing about availability is you don't really have resellers going out there and buying up all the CDs like you do with vinyl records. If a really anticipated release comes out, you got to be on there pretty quickly to buy it if it's on vinyl.
Even if it's not an anticipated release, any week, any album that comes out, if you don't get it within the first couple weeks, you're going to end up paying way more for it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that's not really happening with CDs. CDs, or you can go out years and years after the album's been released and buy it. There's a CD, I don't remember what CD it was that I just bought recently. Bought it brand new at the store. It was printed back in like 1993, and it's still that same CD from way back when. It's like I said, the availability of them is just unreal. You go to thrift stores, Goodwill and places like that. A lot of those you can pick up a lot of great CDs for really cheap. So it kind of goes into the cost aspect of it and the availability aspect of it.
Right.
Another great thing about CDs is it takes up a lot less space than all these records do. You can have 1,000 CDs on a relatively small space, but if you got 1,000 records, it's going to take up a lot of room.
Right.
So if you're talking about all that storage space, if you live in a smaller apartment or smaller condo, just a smaller space, it having all those records really takes up a lot of space.
Right. The only thing is, I don't see anyone doing just CDs. Do you think there are people who just collect CDs?
I'm in a pretty big CD group on Facebook, and there are a lot of those guys in there. That's all they have are just CDs. They don't do records, just CDs. Another thing that's a big bonus for me when it comes to CDs, I don't think it really matters to you as much, and that's Gapless Playback. With CD, when you put a CD in, it's basically it's really just one whole track. When it picks up
the chapters, basically.
Yeah. But it's just a digital track change. It's not really like changing tracks like on a record. And something I've really kind of noticed over the last probably 6 months to maybe a year or year and a half is that a lot of streaming services don't have Gapless Playback, especially if you're listening to like a Pink Floyd album where a lot of those tracks all kind of connect.
And that's what I was going to say. It does matter to me if the tracks do kind of bleed into each other, which a lot of times they do. If they don't, I don't care. But
no.
But you're right in terms of like when you listen to it on like a Spotify or something, those albums where there isn't as much of there is a no separation where the song kind of bleeds into the next.
Yeah.
And you get that stop. It's
that abrupt stop.
Yeah, it is annoying. So I get that for sure.
Yeah. So with CDs, you don't have that. It's all just one. It's all one track. It all kind of plays together. So
as it's supposed to.
Exactly, as it's supposed to. Another thing with CDs is, if you're someone like me, I don't buy a whole lot of records online, but if you're buying a CD, it's much less likely to get damaged coming through the postal service, FedEx, whoever it is. And at the worst case scenario, your case is cracked.
You can buy a new case.
You can buy a new case.
I was just gonna say I haven't had any damaged records yet, but since I started buying CDs, I've had 2 cracked CDs.
Yeah.
But I had extra cases, so I just swapped them.
Yeah. Another great thing about CDs is a lot of times you can get expanded versions. I know with some of the bands I really like. It seems like they always have like Japanese pressings
with bonus
tracks and things like that. A lot of times you can't get that on a streaming service.
Right. And definitely not on vinyl.
No. And another thing is with when you talk about like expanded editions and things like that, a lot of times with CDs, there's original mastered copies that are available. There's remastered copies that are available. There's remixes that are available on different CDs. Generally, when it comes to streaming services, it's whatever the like most recent mix is what's available on those. So you can't really,
or
can't.
They might have the original and whatever the most recent is, but they won't have something that's in between that might be better.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't really get that the variety of mixes that you can get with CDs. So I think that's a big thing with me because I do love a lot of the bonus tracks and things like that, which, like I said, you can't really get that on a streaming service. And then lastly, this is one that I thought was kind of important, but Ian thought was a little strange, and that's privacy. you don't really have privacy when you're listening to Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming service. They're tracking you. They're tracking your music habits. They want to know what you're listening to so they can do whatever with it. They recommend different artists or they can sell your information to whoever. When it comes to your CD, the only person that knows that you're listening to that CD is you and maybe the people that live next door to you. That's it. It's like it's a private moment with you and that album.
For me, I don't care. I would, I want them to know what I'm listening to.
Maybe Ian said I was wearing my tinfoil hat when I.
Well, I wasn't sure if I should have brought mine. If I would have known, I would have brought it. It just doesn't. It doesn't concern me. I mean, they're watching everything we do anyway.
Pretty much.
I don't really care. And if they want to know what kind of music I'm listening to, more power to them. Maybe they'll hear something or know something or find out about something that they didn't know before.
Maybe, I guess.
Some guy in some office who's watching Ian's internet, history going,
your music history.
I wonder that might be an interesting man. I might listen.
Or
to him.
hey, maybe we'll send the FBI after that
guy. No, I'm not that exciting. Way too boring for that. But who knows? I don't. It doesn't bother me. But I understand what you mean. It's there's going to be targeted marketing and all that kind of stuff that could be involved, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
So I guess I see that.
Yeah. Well, that's all we got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop us a comment down below because we talked about 10. There's a bunch more different reasons to still be buying and really enjoying CDs in 2022. So let us know what you guys think. Of course, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give us the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all we got. Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Keep on spinning. Peace.